My name is Melissa Garcia, and I'm an attorney in the transactional department of Heinemann Sanchez. And today I want to talk about success basics for board members. So I can talk hours and hours about different things that board members can do to be successful in operating and governing the community association. But today I really wanted to focus on the standard of care. What standard of care does the board have to exercise in order to make any decisions or otherwise take action on behalf of the association? What do courts look at when a particular decision is being challenged? That's something I want to talk about briefly today. Now, I know it's annual meeting season. I've been attending a ton of annual meetings, and because of that, I'm bringing up this topic because I know that there's a lot of elections going on, and there are probably a number of new board members who are inexperienced, have never served on the board before, and so this topic is perfect for them. But also for you veterans out there who have served several years or maybe are coming back on the board. It's really important for you to understand the standard of care because for any director, it minimizes the exposure to liability. So before I talk about the standard of care, first let's discuss the general role of the board and the directors. The directors are essentially fiduciaries. They owe a fiduciary duty to the association. So what exactly is a fiduciary? Ultimately, it's just a position of trust. What that means is, for example, a patient trusts that a doctor is going to give him or her the right diagnosis. A client is going to trust that an attorney will give him the appropriate advice. Same thing with a director. The homeowners are trusting you. And I think a lot of board members sometimes forget that serving on the board doesn't mean that you're just, sitting at meetings and talking about the state of affairs and maybe hiring a landscaping contractor. The board is running a business. And so the homeowners are entrusting the board with the money, for one thing. Lots of money to make sure that you're spending it wisely, appropriately, and according to the governing documents. They're entrusting the board to preserve the property, make sure that the common area is maintained and aesthetically pleasing. They're entrusting the board to enforce the covenants and the rules and regulations, make sure everybody is in compliance. So if you accept the nomination to be on the board, then remember that you are accepting a position of trust and you now owe a fiduciary duty to the association that encompasses that trust from the homeowners. Now the fiduciary owes a number of duties to the association. Duty of obedience, which is essentially obey your governing documents. Duty of loyalty, don't enter into conflicts of interest that are unfair to the association. But I'm focusing on duty of care. So what does the duty of care encompass? It encompasses three things. The director must act in good faith, in the best interest of the association, and prudently. So let's talk about each one of those separately. So first of all, in good faith, what does that mean? It's really just a legal term. It means don't act in bad faith. Don't act with ill will or maliciously against a particular person or a decision. You have to act in good faith, and I know that sounds easy, and it probably is the easiest one to adhere to, but sometimes you have that one guy that comes to all the board meetings and complains about every single decision or challenges you all the time or just is complaining all the time, and then all of a sudden that guy submits an architectural review submission form and you're looking for ways to deny that. That's probably acting in bad faith. So just make sure that you are not going down that path, frustrating as it might be. Secondly, you have to act in the best interests of the association. So that also sounds kind of easy, but sometimes it's not. What you need to do is you need to set aside your own interests, for example. We all know that most board members are also usually homeowners. So you're wearing the homeowner hat and you're also wearing a board member hat. When you're making a decision, take off the homeowner hat. You need to think of the interests of the community as a whole. So set aside your self-interest, even though that decision might not be in your best interest. You should set aside the interests of your other board members. Set aside the interests of your friends and neighbors. You shouldn't be acting in the best interest of the loudest or the complaining party of the community. That might prompt you to make decisions just to resolve the issue, but that's not in the best interest of the association. Now, I'm not saying that the overwhelming majority of the members should dictate every single time whether or not a decision should go one way or another. For example, if you pose to the homeowners a survey of whether or not they wanted to, whether or not you as a board should raise the assessments, and 98% of the homeowners say no, we like it as is, we don't want to pay more money. But you as a board member know that if you don't raise the assessments, you're not going to be able to pay the bills, you're not going to be able to put money aside in the reserve, you're not going to be able to do a lot of things. And so the best interest of the association will dictate you making a decision that might not be popular, but it's in the best interest of the association. And then finally, the last one is prudently. What that means is whatever decisions you make sure that they're informed. Do your due diligence, ask a lot of questions, review your governing documents, ask for legal opinions from qualified experts, ask for other opinions from other experts, rely on those opinions. As long as there's no issue with trustworthiness of those opinions, you can rely on them in making your decisions. But the point is that you're paper trailing your prudence. You're documenting the fact that you're making an informed decision. And that's particularly important when you are spending a lot of money, because those are the decisions that are usually challenged, and you want to be able to show the reasons why you made that decision and the documentation showing that it was an informed one. So just to sum it all up, remember that when you're making your decisions, act in good faith, in the best interest of the association, and prudently, and make sure you document that, paper trail your prudence. And also make sure you check out our website, because it has a lot more information, www.heinemansanchez.com, and take advantage of our classes coming up. We do have one in February called So Now You're on the Board, Now What?, which goes into greater detail about what I discussed today. So I hope to see you there. Thanks.